I arrived at my own son's wedding, and when I gave my name, the coordinator looked at me like I'd just asked to crash a stranger's party. Margaret. She checked her tablet twice, 3 times. I'm sorry, but you're not on the list. I searched for David among the guests, weaving through women in pastel dresses and men in rented tuxedos. I found him near the bar, laughing with friends, looking handsome in his tailored suit. When he saw me, his face changed. Not to surprise or guilt, but to pure annoyance. Did you seriously think you'd be invited? He didn't even try to lower his voice. I smiled calmly. I understand perfectly, sweetheart. Have a beautiful wedding. And I left. But in the middle of his ceremony, his phone began ringing. Then his new wife's. Then his father-in-law's. Non-stop. 27 calls in 30 minutes. My name is Margaret. I'm 72 years old. And that day, I finally understood that I'd spent 40 years raising someone who saw me as nothing more than an ATM with a pulse. I adopted David from a Romanian orphanage when he was 3 years old. He arrived on a gray Tuesday in November, a tiny, terrified boy with enormous brown eyes and silent tears that leaked constantly. He'd been found abandoned in a Bucharest train station, wrapped in a dirty blanket with no note, no name, no nothing. For 2 years, he'd bounced between institutions. By the time I got him, he didn't cry anymore. He just trembled and watched, waiting to be left again. I named him David after my father. I gave him my last name, my home, my entire young adulthood. I was 29 when I adopted him, with a whole life ahead of me that I happily surrendered. The first 6 months, he woke screaming every night. I'd hold him until dawn, promising over and over that I wasn't leaving, that he was mine now, that nothing would separate us. He'd clutch my nightgown with tiny fists and eventually fall back asleep, exhausted from fear. I worked days as a hospital receptionist and nights cleaning offices to afford the private schools. I wanted him to have opportunities one never had. I sold my mother's engagement ring when he needed braces. I remortgaged my house when he got into engineering school. I gave up dating, travel, promotions, anything that might take time or money away from him. When he graduated university, I sat in the audience and cried so hard I couldn't see the stage. Worth it, I thought. Every sleepless night, every missed opportunity, every penny. Worth it. I had no idea I was raising someone who would eventually look at me like I was trash on the sidewalk. Vanessa arrived like a perfume commercial, beautiful, polished, and cold as January. David brought her to dinner 6 years ago, and she spent the entire meal looking around my small house like she was calculating its demolition costs. Within months, the comments started. Margaret, don't you think that dress is a bit matronly for someone your age? David, your mom calls every week? That's sweet. My mom respects my space enough to let me breathe. She's always there, David. Always hovering. Don't you ever want privacy? And David? My son, who I'd held through nightmares and celebrated with through graduations, just nodded. Agreed. Became a stranger wearing my boy's face. The first time she insulted my cooking to my face, wow, this is incredibly salty. Didn't you taste it before serving? David kept eating. Said nothing. Didn't even look up. The first time she told me I wasn't welcome for Christmas. We want intimacy this year, just the two of us. David looked at his phone. Said nothing. Let her deliver the knife. The first time I heard him repeat her words, Mom, you're kind of suffocating. Vanessa says healthy adults need boundaries. I said nothing either. Because I thought love meant enduring. I thought mothers swallowed pain so their children could be happy. I thought if I just gave enough, sacrificed enough, disappeared. Eventually they'd see me. I was so wrong. The engagement dinner happened at their apartment. I arrived with a store-bought cake, expecting a normal Tuesday night, and found Vanessa flashing a diamond ring surrounded by her entire family. Surprise! Her mother screamed. Her father clapped David's back. Her sister took photos. I stood in the doorway with my cake, completely invisible. Mom, David told me later that night, his voice flat and distant. Vanessa and I have been talking. We want something intimate. Just close family. I nodded, still naive enough to believe I qualified as close family. For months, I asked about the wedding. Dates, venues, colors, guest lists. Every question met with vague answers. We're still deciding. We'll let you know. Don't worry about it. 3 days before the wedding, I finally called to ask what time I should arrive. The silence on the other end stretched long and hard. Mom? Vanessa feels like you don't really fit the vibe we're going for. The vibe. I wasn't invited to my son's wedding because I didn't match the vibe. The wedding is for people who support us, he continued. People who are happy for us. You've been so negative lately. Negative. I'd been quiet. I'd been waiting. I'd been swallowing every insult and every dismissal for years. And that was the word he chose. I hung up without saying goodbye. The next morning, I put on the dress I'd bought 6 months ago, sage green, modest, mother of the groom appropriate. I did my hair. I took a taxi to the venue. Not to fight. Not to make a scene. Just to see. To witness, with my own eyes, exactly who I'd raised. The venue was everything Vanessa wanted, minimalist modern, all white roses and fairy lights and strategically placed mirrors. Guests milled about in expensive outfits, clutching little cards with table assignments. Champagne popped somewhere in the distance. I gave my name at the registration table. The coordinator smiled professionally. Tapped her tablet, frowned. I'm sorry, Mrs. Walsh, but you're not on the list. There must be a mistake. I'm the groom's mother. She checked again, harder this time. I see Vanessa's parents, grandparents, even a second cousin from Ohio. But no mother of the groom. Let me find David. And then he appeared. My son, in his $3,000 suit, with his perfect hair and his perfect life. His face when he saw me. That's what I'll remember on my deathbed. Not the orphanage years or the night terrors or the graduations. Just that face. Not anger. Not embarrassment. Pure, unfiltered annoyance. Mom, what are you doing here? I came to your wedding, sweetheart. I told you it was small. You told me I didn't fit the vibe. There's a difference. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. Don't do this. Not today. Don't make a scene. I'm not making a scene. I just wanted to see my son get married. I'll stand in the back. I won't talk to anyone. You weren't invited. The words landed like stones in my chest. I know. But I'm your mother. He looked at me then, really looked, and I saw something shift. Not guilt. Not love. Just impatience. The impatience you feel when a beggar interrupts your meal. Vanessa's parents are here. Her grandparents. Everyone who actually supports us. You've been smothering me my whole life, Mom. Always calling, always checking, always there. Vanessa helped me see that. You don't know boundaries. I thought about the night terrors. The fevers. The first day of school tears. The science fairs he forgot to tell me about until the night before. The college applications I filled out because he was too busy. The loan documents I signed. The payments I made. The sacrifices stacked like bricks, walling me into a life that revolved entirely around him. I thought about how none of it mattered. And then I smiled. Okay, sweetheart. I understand perfectly. Have a beautiful life. I turned and walked away. Behind me, I heard him exhale, relief, probably. The inconvenience had removed itself. He had no idea what was coming. In the taxi home, I called Richard. Richard Chin, my attorney for 25 years. The only person alive who knew the truth about my finances. The only person who'd watched me destroy myself for David and never said, I told you so. Richard? It's Margaret. I think it's time. Time for what, Margaret? Time for David to learn what happens when you treat the person who gave you everything like garbage. Long pause. You're sure? Once we do this, there's no going back. I've never been more sure of anything. Okay. I'll start the paperwork. Give me 48 hours. The taxi driver glanced at me in the rear view. You okay, ma'am? I smiled. For the first time in decades, it was real. I'm about to be. You see, David never knew the truth about my father. Papa emigrated from Switzerland in the 1950s with nothing but ambition and a gift for languages. He built an import-export business from scratch, invested wisely, married my mother late in life. When he died 15 years ago, he left me everything, properties in Geneva, stocks in blue-chip companies, bank accounts with more zeros than I'd ever imagined. I never told David. I wanted him to love me for who I was, not for what I could give him. I wanted him to value the sacrifice, not the safety net. Instead, he loved me for what I could give him anyway. He just didn't know the full extent of it. Time to fix that. Day 1, their Cancun honeymoon. I canceled every credit card in my name, all 4 of them, the ones I'd been paying for years. David's personal card. The joint card he shared with Vanessa. The emergency card. The business expenses card that somehow always covered Vanessa's shopping. David called screaming from the hotel lobby at 2 a.m. my time. Mom, our cards aren't working. We're stuck in Cancun with no money. Correct. They're my cards. I stopped paying for them. You're joking. I'm not. You're an adult now. You wanted independence. Here it is. But we have 5 more days. Then I hope you brought cash. He hung up on me. I smiled and ordered room service from my hotel suite, the one I'd booked at the Four Seasons, because I could finally afford to enjoy my own money. Day 2. Vanessa's Instagram story showed her crying in the hotel lobby. Caption: when family betrays you on your honeymoon. Thousands of sympathetic comments poured in. I screenshotted everything. Evidence for later. Day 3. They flew home early, having borrowed money from Vanessa's parents. David called again, voice shaking with rage. Do you have any idea how humiliating that was? Borrowing money from her parents. Probably about as humiliating as being told you don't fit someone's vibe. This is different. Is it? Because from where I'm standing, you're finally learning that money doesn't grow on trees. Someone has to earn it. Someone has to sacrifice. You've never had to do either. I earned my job. Did you? Call Mr. Harrison. Ask him how you really got hired. Silence. Then, what does that mean? It means call your boss, David. Then call me back. Day 5. The call came at midnight. Mom. David. I called Mr. Harrison. He said you knew his father. That you asked him to give me a chance. That he's been protecting me for 7 years. Yes. And he said my performance reviews were terrible. That clients complained constantly. That he only kept me because of you. Yes. Mom, is that true? Every word. Why didn't you tell me? Because I wanted you to believe in yourself. Because I thought if you thought you earned it, you'd work harder to keep it. Instead, you coasted. You showed up late. You did mediocre work. You treated me like an inconvenience while living off my connections and my money. Mom, call me when you're ready to apologize for the wedding. Not for the money. For treating me like I was worthless. I hung up. Week 2, David lost his job. Mr. Harrison was kind, gave him 2 weeks, offered references, said all the right things. But the truth was out. The engineering community is small. Word travels fast. By week 3, every job application came back with the same response. We've decided to move forward with other candidates. Week 3, Vanessa discovered her emergency credit card, the one in her name with a $15,000 limit, was maxed out. She'd spent it on the wedding, the honeymoon deposits, the designer furniture for their perfect house. The house that wasn't actually theirs. Week 4, Richard served them papers. The beautiful 3-bedroom with the open concept and the backyard where Vanessa planned to host brunches? Mine. Always mine. I'd paid the down payment. Co-signed the mortgage. Covered payments every time David was between jobs, which happened more than he'd ever admitted. They had 30 days to vacate or start paying market rent, $4,200 monthly. Vanessa's reaction was caught on their Ring doorbell. A neighbor posted the video online, her screaming, throwing a potted plant, calling me every name imaginable. David cowering in the doorway. Police showing up. The video went semi-viral, a few 100,000 views. Small, but enough. Week 5, Vanessa made her move. She posted on Facebook. My psycho mother-in-law kicked us out of our house after ruining our wedding. She pretended to be poor for decades to manipulate my husband, but she's secretly a millionaire. Now she's destroyed our lives because she can't accept that her son doesn't need her anymore. She tagged me. Used my full name. Included crying selfies and photos of the trashed house, the mess she'd made herself. The internet did what it does. 50,000 shares. Thousands of comments calling me monster, witch, abuser, jealous old hag. I waited 3 days. Let her think she'd won. Let the comments pile up. Then I opened my own account. I posted screenshots. Years of texts. Margaret, can you send $500? David's card declined again. Margaret, watch the dogs this weekend. We're going out. Margaret, we need $8,000 for the venue deposit by Friday. Margaret, don't wear that to dinner. It's embarrassing for us. Margaret, we've decided you're not a good fit for the wedding. Hope you understand. Then audio recordings. 17 months of careful documentation. Because when someone spends years gaslighting you, evidence becomes survival. The first recording, Vanessa's voice, sharp and cruel. Your mom keeps asking about the wedding. It's so pathetic. Does she not get hints? David's voice, quiet, I know. I'll handle it. She's old. She'll be dead soon anyway. Then we won't have to deal with her. Long pause. Then David, yeah, probably. I added, I adopted David from a Romanian orphanage when he was 3 years old. He screamed for his birth mother every night for 2 years. I held him through all of it. I worked nights cleaning hospitals so he could attend private school. I sold my mother's jewelry for his engineering tuition. I paid for his car, his apartment, his wedding, his house, his credit cards, his entire adult life. I also got him his job, calling in a 40-year-old favor to give him a chance. For 7 years, I covered for his lateness, his mistakes, his client complaints. I paid money to make problems disappear. Money he never knew about. And this is how they thanked me. I didn't kick them out. I stopped paying for people who treat me like garbage. I didn't ruin David's career. I stopped covering for his incompetence. I didn't pretend to be poor. I kept my private life private because I wanted my son to love me for who I am, not for my bank account. That was my mistake. So here's my gift to every parent reading. Love your children. But teach them that actions have consequences. Teach them that the person who changed their diapers and held them through nightmares and worked themselves to exhaustion for their future, that person deserves dignity. And if they can't give that dignity, retire from motherhood. It's never too late to choose yourself. The post exploded. 30 million views in 48 hours. News crews outside my building. Hashtag Team Margaret trending worldwide. Vanessa deleted her account within hours, but the internet never forgets. People found her old posts bragging about their house, their lifestyle, all paid by me. David's former colleagues confirmed everything. Yes, he was mediocre. Yes, everyone knew. Yes, clients complained constantly. Vanessa's boutique fired her. Customers refused to shop where that woman worked. Their friends evaporated. Turns out most people don't want to be associated with viral infamy. 6 months later, I moved to Geneva. Into my father's old apartment overlooking the lake. I hired a housekeeper for the first time in my life. Started painting badly, joyfully. Started sleeping through the night. Richard visited monthly with updates. David was working at a hardware store. Vanessa divorced him, moved back to Ohio. He was in therapy. Real therapy, not the kind she'd pushed. Then a letter arrived. Mom, I remember being 3. I remember screaming for a mother who abandoned me. I remember you holding me, promising you'd never leave. You kept that promise. I'm the one who left. I left you at my wedding because Vanessa said you didn't match our aesthetic. I left you and ignored calls and canceled dinners and years of taking without thinking. And you kept paying my bills. Kept covering for me. Kept loving me. I don't deserve to call you mom. But I'm in therapy now. I work at a hardware store, show up early, do my best, because now I know what earning feels like. If you ever want to see me 5 minutes, an hour, even just to tell me you hate me, I'll be here. Your son, David. I read it 3 times. Then I folded it carefully and placed it in my drawer. Next to the blue ribbon from his first school play and my father's final letter. I didn't cry. I didn't call. I didn't forgive him, not yet, maybe not ever. But I also didn't throw it away. Some doors, once closed, don't reopen. But sometimes, if you're lucky, a crack appears. Just wide enough for light. I'm not ready for that light. Maybe I never will be. But for the first time in months, I thought about it. And that, I've learned, is enough. Share the story with your friends and subscribe Karma Twin Voices for more.